When I'm going over aviation accidents, I like to sit back with a nice medium roast nabob coffee.
Full, rich, body flavor.
A nice rich blend, and a coffee that stands out over others.
Nabob, a premium blend coffee. Buy it today.
You know, when it comes to coffee, the rest just don't simply measure up. Nabob, if I can drink it, so can you. Hello everybody, welcome. I'm going to be going over some more aviation stuff today. What I'm going to be covering today is how to handle an engine fire in flight while in cruise, and how to divert to an airport and deal with the situation and land. Some of the reasons for why I'm doing this video today is I've been doing some research and finding out there's been people in trouble while they've been flying their twins and talking on the radio, and then they ended up crashing. So I'm going to be going over flows and how to aviate, navigate, and communicate. And I'm going to be showing you some scenarios with different weather so that you can do this in your flight planning by really thinking things through before you go out and do your flight and how you're going to deal with the situation. Always anticipate something bad to happen. So anyways, I'm going to go through a scenario where we're flying along at 7,000 feet, and then we're going to have to divert to White Plains Airport and deal with an engine fire. Alright, so you can see here, I'm going to put on the screen here for you. This is your steps for aviating the aircraft, and here are your steps for navigation, to navigate. And here are the steps for your communication, 1 to 8. Alright, so I've taken this from memory, what I'm doing here today, but why I think I'm pretty good at it is because I've always done flows, and flows is just basically going right to left or left to right, however you may want to set up your airplane. And the thing to remember is as long as you cover all the items on the checklist, you're good. Okay. And I've actually flown aircraft where we never used checklists. That's right, never used checklists. And we did PPC rides. That means it's aviation approved. And we did that on Beech 18s that are on seaplane operations. So doing flows is something that I just got used to doing, and you can adapt this to pretty much any light twin out there. So anyways, I'm going to go through a scenario with you today and just basically tell you how to do things. And most of the time I think what happens is people start freaking out, and the tendency to turn to the dead engine or to start talking to ATC gets them behind the airplane. So what I'm going to do is just go over how I do things, and then maybe you can get some tips yourself. So let's go ahead and let's have an engine fire. Alright, and we still got power, and what we're going to do is we're going to kill the right engine. Alright, so the right engine's going to fail, and then we're going to divert to an airport, and we know it's White Plains Airport, and I'll just put the approach plate up here for runway 16, and I'm going to superimpose the information onto sheets of paper here so that we can see the important information from the plate and not see everything. Alright, so this is a VFR flight. This is for VFR pilots, private pilot, and even guys that are instrument rated. Okay, this can be used for any situation. So if you take a look first, we're going to use two sets of weather. And first we're going to use 3,000 feet, 10 miles visibility. Alright, and the second one is going to be 2,000 feet overcast, 10 miles visibility. And you're going to see when you have that little bit of difference in cloud deck, it can make a difference in how you're going to go in and do an approach and land in an event of emergency. And then I'll ask you, which one would you rather do? And you're going to say the easier one, obviously. Alright, so let's go ahead and let's have an engine fire on the right hand side simulated, and then I'm just going to go through my flow and you'll see what I'm doing, and then you'll understand it when you get into your own airplane, start flying. So flying around at 7,000 feet en route to our destination airport, and then boom, I got an engine fire. First thing I do, I call out engine fire physically. Engine fire right side. Then I go down and I turn off the fuel right away, because you want to get that gas off right away because you don't want that getting out of hand. Turn the fuel off and then come right up to the right hand mixture, and then you know, like Karate Kid, that your right knee's going to go up and your left foot's going to go in, because dead foot, dead engine. And you're going to rip that friggin' mixture right to idle cutoff. And what that's going to do is hopefully it's going to burn all the gas off inside the engine by burning it off quickly. And then you're going to grab the right prop and you're going to go straight to feather on the right engine. And the reason for that is when an engine's spinning fast, it's easier to get it into feather, full feather. You don't want it to go halfway or be a flat blade. So get it right into feather and then grab the right throttle and go to idle. All right, and you can see I'm just going across the auxiliary controls right now. Then I'm going to go to the left prop to 2500 RPM, left manifold pressure to 25 inches. That gives you climb power, and that's what you need now to just hold altitude. Now you're going to go down and do your CODS check. So primer and locked, master on, mags on the left engine on both. Go over to the right mags and then turn them off one at a time, left and right, just in case you made a mistake. You can flip them on. Then you're going to go to left boost pump on for the left engine, and then right boost pump off for the right engine, and it should be off already. Then you're going to come down and you're going to make sure that the cowl flaps are closed on the right engine, and then keep them open on the left engine. And then bring your hand up and then start trimming the airplane off. And all you want to do is just basically fly straight ahead and hold your altitude. And you got climb power on now. Alright? If you go full fine and rev the engine, you're going to rev line the engine and you're going to slow down and lose speed and altitude, and that's what you don't want to do. So just go to climb power. Alright? Now, you're flying straight. Hopefully this fire's not getting any worse. And now we're going to go to the navigation part of this exercise. First thing you do is you go to your instrument panel, go to your transponder, and dial in 7700 squawk ident. That's going to light up all the radar screens and also send bells and whistles off in every air traffic unit around the area. You have now declared an emergency, so you're off the hook. So you own the sky now. Then you're going to go up to your stack for your VHF comm, and you're going to go 121.5, and you're going to flip it over, and then you're going to test the volume to make sure you got good volume. This is better than talking on any other frequency because it's nice and quiet, and now you can have a quiet conversation whoever you want to talk to on this frequency. So use that frequency. Don't use the other frequencies because you got to wait for someone to finish talking or whatever. Just go to 121.5 and don't talk on it yet. Once that's in, then go to your GPS. Dial in your alternate airport, and you know that because you did flight planning last night and you know that's where you're going to go. You can also go to nearest airport, dial that in, and then find that airport and hit direct enter. All that's going to come up, that information for heading, speed, and time. Now, that's all up and running now. And now the airport's over here, and this engine's dead, and your natural tendency is to want to turn to that heading. Now I have my demonstration model. Remember, you want to keep that dead engine up, and it's the right engine. Alright? So, you don't turn this way right away. That's right. That's right, guys. You turn left, and you're going to turn left because now it's a left turning airplane only. And you're going to go right around, and they're going to go on course at 7,000 feet and say we'll do a heading of 040. Alright? So now you're flying 040 and you're off to the races and you're flying there and you're on your way and you squawk 7,700. Now's the time to take a quick look at your fuel quantities on the left engine and the right engine tanks. And you can see that you got half tanks. So what you're going to do next before you talk to anybody is you're going to reach down and you're going to do a cross feed. Bring in the gas from the right wing over to the left wing, making the right wing lighter, making the airplane easier to fly and land later. Okay? So now that you've done that, we're now going to contact White Plains Airport. We got an emergency. We're coming in. 121.5. Mayday, mayday, mayday. This is Cessna 310, Alpha Bravo Charlie, inbound for emergency landing. I'm 50 miles back, expecting the field in 20 minutes. Engine fire. All right, and then guess what? They're going to come back and say, Roger, we check you on the emergency. Winds are 140 at 10, altimeter 2992. Call 10 miles out, or whatever it may be. Now you don't need to check the ATIS because he already gave you the information and you got your own private channel with this guy. Now that I'm flying towards this airport, because I have my cheat sheet here, I'm going to go into my folder that I have in my pocket and I'm going to pick out White Plains Airport, runway 16. Pull it out, go through my alternate. There it is, White Plains, runway 16, stick it on the yoke, put everything back. Alright? Now that I have that, I'm 7,000 feet, it's up there, I'm flying along, I took the pressure off, I'm going to give myself an approach briefing and get this plane ready for landing. So whatever I got to do in the cockpit, now's the time to do it. So approach runway 16, missed approach is going to be 600 feet, 200 feet on the decision height, overshoot not required, and radios. That's the big one. So you private pilot guys with no instrument endorsement, you know how to tune an ident, an NDB, and a VOR. And I'm just going to put this up here now on the screen for you so you can see, without looking at the plate and squinting, what we're doing. So you can see we got the Hester NDB at 281, and you got the localizer at 109.7. And you're going to tune and identify them to make sure that those are the ones that you selected. You'll also see the airplane down the left corner flying a heading of 040, but you'll see two arrows coming off of them. The one arrow to the right is where you're going to go to the airport, and the other arrow is going to the NDB, depending on your situation. This situation that we're in now, we're going to be following the solid line straight to the airport because we got a ceiling of 3,000 feet. And if you take a look over on the side there, I got MSA. And our MSA is what? 2,900 feet. So that means when we're going down to that airport now, we're 40 miles out, we can go down, when we get down to when we get to 25 miles out, we can go down to 2,900 feet. So about 30 miles out, I'm going to start my descent down from 7,000 feet down to 2,900 feet. Remember, we're still 25 miles away, okay? So we got lots of time. So stay high for now, and then around 30 miles out, start coming down and get down to 2,900 feet. Now the beautiful thing is, once we get down to 2,900 feet, what's going to happen? We're going to have visual. That's right, because we got a 3,000 foot overcast layer. So once we get to 25 miles, or just past 25 miles, let's just say we finally get down there at 2,900 feet at 20 miles out, or 18 miles out. And we're at a cloud now. So minimum sector altitude stuff is now no longer needed. You're now visual. Alright? So what are we going to do? I'll put this up on the screen here for you. We're just going to stay at 2,900 feet and fly straight to the airport. Once we get, say, within 10 miles of the airport, we'll start coming down to what? Circuit altitude, pattern altitude. And I believe it's 439, the field elevation here. So we're going to go down to 1,900 feet. Around 10 miles out, we'll start working our way down to 1,900 feet. And then you're going to fly overhead the airfield and join the downwind. And you can see the airplane going downwind there. That's when you're going to do your downwind check and also do your gumps. Get it out of the way. Because you got a wounded airplane right now and you don't want to be burying your head in a cockpit when you're on final. You want to be setting up a stable platform. And now you're nice and straight and you're 500 feet high, starting a descent. do your downwind check, and then get rid of your gumps. And how you're going to do that first is by deploying your gear. So throw the gear down, get the gear down 3 green and locked, and then go ahead and do your downwind check and your gumps. So we'll do this. Primer and locked, master on, magnetos on left engines both, right magnetos are off, left boost pump is on, right boost pump is off. Then we go down and we check the cowl flap for the left engine is up or open, and for the right engine that's dead, it is closed. Trims all check, everything is fine, looking good. And now you got your gumps checked, all done. And your gas is off to the right engine, obviously. Your cross feed's turned off too, and everything's on to the left engine. Now you're on the downwind, you're coming up to 1400 feet. You want to extend for about a 3-mile final. You'll see the Hester NDB is still a little bit away, because that's 4.8 miles away from the airport. You don't have to go that far out to do a circuit. So just take her out, and then when you get down to 1400 feet, then turn base leg, and then turn final. And if you got the ILS on too, but you're visual anyway, so just go land on the runway. And then as you're coming in, this is the trick now, when you know that you're going to make it, you're going to bring that last prop to full fine and use very little flap and use more speed all the way down. All right? Use more speed. Use gravity. Don't use engine power, because the airplane could get wonky on you. So just keep coming down, and come down maybe 15 knots faster than usual, and aim about 200 feet before the runway so you can flare over the grassway and get into ground effect and have more of a flat landing. Now you're not manipulating power and deploying lots of flap. We already know that the runway is 4,500 feet by checking the plate. You could also ask the controller too if you need to. But landing the airplane flap with less flap and more speed and keeping it more of a pancake landing is better than coming down with all the flap and doing a big flare, especially if you have to add engine power. Remember, you only got one engine now, right? So use gravity, aim early, and then come in flat. All right, so that's scenario 1. That's the best one that I would like to have. Now we're going to take a look at scenario 2, and going back at your weather, you got 2,000 feet overcast, 10 miles. So this is going to play a hamper here. Remember that your minimum sector altitude was 2,900 feet. So as we're coming down, we can only come down to 2,900 feet, so we're not going to pop out a cloud yet. All right? So that means we got to go to what? The NDB beacon. Getting back to the first sheet here where you can see the arrow going to the beacon. That's the perforated arrow, because you don't have visual now at 25 miles out. You got 2,000 feet, so you're going to have to go all the way to the beacon and do what they call a procedure turn. So 2,000, you're going to be 2,900 feet all the way to the beacon. Then you're going to turn outbound, and then you're going to fly 342 for a minute, and now you're going to have to come down to 2,000 feet. So you're going to have to lose 900 feet. So this is a good place again to do your downwind check, which I just mentioned, and your gumps check. So get the gear out, let the gear do the drag, slow you down, don't use flap yet, and get that plane down to 2,000 feet, and then turn around and come back in and grab the localizer. And you're going to have to grab the localizer because you're in cloud. And then you're going to fly to the beacon and capture the glide slope. Once you capture the glide slope and start coming down, you're going to pop out at probably like 2,000, 1,900 feet. And now you got visual, and you're about 4.8 miles back. So you got lots of time to land now. And once again, do what I told you before. Aim for the beginning of the runway and try to land flat. The problem with this one is that you're in cloud doing all these turns, and it's still VFR. And it's taking you longer to go around. So what I'm saying is, that one is not the way to do it, really. I'd rather do the other one, but you need the weather to do it. Now, there is a cheat way to do it, and I'm just putting this up on the screen. And this is for 10 nautical miles around the airport. And now what I'm getting at by looking at this now, by doing some good flight planning, I can see that around this airport, nothing's going to hurt me 1,000 feet and below. the highest thing I think I see here is a tower at 893, and the field elevation is 439. So this is another way you can do it. If you don't want to go do the procedure turn, you can do this. So you go to the airport, 2,900 feet, stay at 2,900 feet till you get to 10 miles. Once you get to 10 miles, you push the nose down and you get it down to what? 2,000 feet. That's the overcast layer. And you're good down to 1,400, because you can see within that 10 miles, you're not going to hit nothing at circuit altitude, pattern altitude of 1,400 feet. All right? So that's just another way you can cheat if you need to. All right? So there's 3 ways of doing this, just depending on where the cloud base is. So when you're doing your flight planning, always keep that in consideration. A lot of people don't do that. And you can see using the emergency frequency will be a lot better for you as well, and squawking 7700. All right, so that's just a little tip of the day, and go ahead and try it and work on your flows, and make sure you cover all the items on the checklist when you develop your flows in the airplane. All right, everybody, have a good day, and so long until next time.